Evening, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Tonight I'm going to be doing some of my own data. I've got a large mosaic of the Sadr region of Cygnus, and we're going to be working on putting together at least half of that mosaic tonight, and working on just figuring out how to stitch them together effectively and hopefully demonstrating that process for you. So we will jump right in. Data is here. Ideally, the way this is going to go is this will be the bottom portion. This will be the top portion. We're going to start out by correcting the gradients first. And we're not going to do anything crazy or special with gradient removal tonight. We're going to use one of my favorite quick and dirty tools, Graxpert. Both of these images have been plate solved, and they have astrometric solutions, which will be necessary for doing obviously the color calibration, but more importantly, the joining of the mosaic. So first things first, let's just run our Graxpert on here real quick. Hopefully we get a nice clean background extraction. Excuse me. So yeah, just a little bit better up in this corner here. I'm actually going to close that. I don't need it. And we will do the second one. You can also have Graxpert show you your background model. I probably should have ticked that box just to see what it looked like. I'm going to run it a second time here just to show that off real quick. You can do this show background model. You also have the option to replace the target view, which I don't like doing in case I need to go back. I could use the back button, but I just like to generate a new image. So yeah, this will show you what the gradient, what it did to correct. May have been slightly over aggressive right here in this area, but again, for the purposes of this demonstration, that's just fine. So we'll close that one down. And then we're going to run BXT Blur Exterminator in correct only mode on both of these two. And ideally, you want to have, when you're doing your mosaic, I probably should have led with this. You want to frame up your image the night you're setting up your imaging session. Whenever I set up a session, I try to always plan like I'm going to do a mosaic, and that determines how my rotation will be and what my framing is going to be like. And the reason for that is typically in the past I've found that I always want to go back and add more to something, and then I found that, well, gosh, the framing isn't quite right. where I started. So my second frame, I can't get what I want. So I always try and think of things as a bit of a big picture scenario um, when I'm starting my initial session on whatever target I've chosen. I In order for it to work, you need to have an overlap between your two frames. Um, Whatever you use for joining your mosaics, if it's Astro Pixel Processor or Pixinsight, um, you have an easier time merging your mosaics if you have somewhere between a 10 and a 20% overlap in between your images. I've been able to make mosaics go together with a tiny sliver, but your blend will be better, so you won't have seams. Uh, and the way that you set up your blending options in a later step I'm going to show you called your photometric mosaic, uh, you'll have an easier time if your signals match. So in this particular instance, this image right here, I want to say it was between 6 and 10 hours of integration, and this one was shorter. The closer those signals match, the better your stitch will be, and when it goes through its process to blend these two images, you can blend them, you can average them. It'll have an easier time if those signals match. So there's my little shtick on setting up your mosaic, deciding how you want to do it, and how much overlap do you need. Inevitably, when you go to set up the mosaic, unless you have a rotator for your camera, when you actually go and you move on to your next frame, it's going to rotate slightly and they're not going to line up so much. So as those change, when you go and you set it up yourself, or if you've done a mosaic, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The top image will have rotated slightly compared to where your bottom one is, just by how the position and how the stars move when you move your camera. In any case, because of that, that's why you want to have a little bit of freedom in your overlap. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we've done blur exterminator and correct only. Hopefully we've gotten rid of any oddly shaped stars or chromatic aberrations. And we could, in theory, go ahead and stitch these two together right now. But I like to do one thing before we do, and that is I like to run distortion correction between my two images. And because they're two separate images and there's a slightly different rotation, it's good to run your distortion correction just to kind of line out any weirdness. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So we've got these two new images. They're exactly the same, except you'll notice, ideally, yeah, see this tiny little black bar up here? As it did its distortion correction, we've now got this little edge because it corrected the image in between the two, and we'll need to crop these edges off before we merge them, and then we're going to have to plate solve the images again. So I'm going to do that now. And it's a minuscule amount you'll have to get rid of. Just zoom in. Take a quick look right here. Yeah, even that was too much. And thankfully, this mosaic wasn't done over multiple nights, so I don't have a ton of stacking artifacts where I lost signal on the edges. It's all pretty even across the image. And then we'll do this one too. And just apply your dynamic crop. Make your adjustment. I'll be honest, as far as the distortion correction goes, there's probably, there might even be some way to do it in the tool when you merge the mosaic, but this is the way that I know how to do it. So if somebody knows a better way to go about this, feel free to leave a comment. Okay, so these were our originals. Don't actually need those, but we'll hold on to them just for funsies. And these are our two that have had distortion correction applied. They end in this RA abbreviation. Okay. So quickly, we're going to image solve these two. Sorry guys, I'm thirsty. Give me a sec. All right, that one should be finishing up. And now I will do this one. So once we're done here, we will go up and align by coordinates. It will figure out how these two images relate to one another in space, and then we will put that together. Ideally, processing wise, as far as your linear workflow goes, you will want to do your background extraction Crop out any of your edge artifacts. You can run Blur Exterminator. But I would recommend don't stretch or do anything like that. You want to stitch it before you've stretched the image. So real quick, I've got plate solves for both of these. I'm going to go ahead and color calibrate the two of them. So we're going to do a find background with SETI Astro script. Run that on each of them. And I need to change the names of these files. This name is huge. Okay. I'm going to name this one something simple. _1. And _2. Let's find background on this one. Hey, what's up, Maz? Stream sound all right? Thanks for stopping by, man. Okay. Next, I'm going to color calibrate and put in my camera sensor, my filter, my background reference, and apply. Alright, so we got that one. Just going to use a linked stretch for this. I like how it looks for this target. So we're going to get a slightly redder, bluish background than we will from this, which is the unlinked. So color calibrate this one. Change our background reference. And apply again. Alright, and then last but not least, we'll run Blur Exterminator, quickly calculate our PSF by using our PSF image. See how many stars we get here. Too many. Go back to default. That should do the trick. Okay. Calculator. Again, it's these two that we want to average. 1.43 plus 1.23 divided by 2. It's going to give us our PSF for the image, which is going to help us with our sharpening and deconvolution. So we're going to input that metric right there. Not really going to sharpen the stars up because we'll do like 10%. They're pretty small. I don't really want them to get too much smaller than that. And apply. And then same thing on this image. Let's just take a look real quick here, before and after. Oh yeah. Just seeing what we got here. And same deal, yeah. Whoops, wrong tool. Sorry guys, I wish there was a way to make this go a little faster. Till I get a better PC. This is it. right. So this should be slightly different, and it is. .66. And we'll do the same thing here. I just realized I had my halo adjustment at 50%, which is why the stars got so much bigger, but I actually didn't hate it, so we're going to stick with it. See how it does on this. Sadr right here is pretty big, and it might actually just get way out of control here in a second, so we'll see. What's up, Joe? Removed. Pretty much ready to assemble. So we're going to do, under mosaics here, mosaic by coordinates. We're going to add our two windows, number 1, number 2, and click OK. And I like to change this pixel interpolation down to bicubic B-spline. Any one of them will work. However, if you have some weird stars, this Landscope can make it so your stars don't quite align. Is good. This is a little more forgiving, so it's what I like to use. I've got it set at normal mass. It might be that my bit rate is too high. It doesn't say I'm dropping frames on my side. What do you suggest I set it at? I'm still kind of working out the kinks in my stream. So yeah, if there's an issue, any recommendations you have, I will welcome. Yeah, it is set to normal. But I'm also streaming in 4K, so it could be you, it could be me. I don't honestly know. And I've never tried to assemble a mosaic on stream before, so this might just take forever. It seems to be chugging along okay, though. I have no doubt that you may have had some buffering. Like right now, it's saying that I'm about 5% drop frames, which, based on what I was reading, people were saying that as long as you're under 5, you're probably okay. And my bit rate's around 3,000, so the whole streaming thing's a little bit new for me. It's kind of a careful balance between bit rate and resolution and not dropping your frames. So I think it's pretty close. This will probably be the most intensive thing that we do tonight on stream, except Star Exterminator. Being this is the first Mosaic I've tried on stream tonight, I'm glad I didn't go for 4 panels. I was like, I think I'll just try and do 2. Any clear skies for you guys tonight? Oh, that's cool. I just closed down my chat window. How do I bring that back? There it is. I haven't had any clear skies in a minute. It actually might snow tonight. Yeah. Same thing here. I did get some cleats for my shoes today, so I don't fall and bust my tail every time I go out and walk the dogs. I'm excited to try those out. I didn't actually know that was a thing. Like, I know you can get them for hiking boots, but these are cool. They just strap onto your sneakers. Woof. This is taking forever. Yeah. Yak tracks. Those are the ones that I got. That's what they were called. Somebody posted them on their social media the other day, and they were like, "These are great," and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I got a pair for my wife too, because, well, I definitely don't want her falling. Is exactly the kind of thing that would be developed in the Northeast. Like, it just sounds like Ohio all the way. Are you originally from Ohio, Joe? Or were you just, did you just spend some time there? Alright, on to our second image. Oh, this one's going a little faster. Are they Buckeye fans? Did they celebrate big? And football's a way of life in Ohio. I'm going to AFK a minute while this is doing its thing. Any stream issues for you, Joe? Does it all look fine? Sound fine? Okay, good. Played around much with the new NXT much? I need your knowledge. I know there's a good video out on it with Adam Block and RC Astro, and I haven't watched it yet. I mentioned it on stream the other night, and I still haven't got around to watching it. I need to do it. I just want a new Star Exterminator. Thankfully, all of you watching the VOD will be able to just skip through this. Come on, 1%. We're done. Okay. We'll make these two go away. Now we have these two large images, which show how these two overlap. And this was what I was telling you guys earlier, is there's just a slight difference in rotation between the frames. And we'll overlay here and look at the transparency. And if I had a rotator, I would be able to set these up so that they actually lined up perfectly. And you could do that in between your sessions, but I have found that trying to line them up perfectly in between sessions is just a little bit fiddly. So To be frank, I don't bother, and I just end up cropping the bits out that don't quite fit. Oh, it does look good in 4K? I think as long as there's not a ton of motion on the screen, it stays looking pretty nice in 4K. Okay, so next step, we're going to go back under this Mosaic tool set here. And we're going to go trim Mosaic tile. And we're going to actually just shave off some pixels around the edge here. And that's because the next tool that we're going to use won't work if we don't do this. So we're going to apply this to each image. And then we're going to run photometric mosaic. And you can go and download this tool. This script is not a part of the default Pixinsight toolkit, but it's a free download. So go grab it. In fact, I'll try and find it and put a link in the description when I upload the video. Alright, so you're going to select your reference view, and we'll just pick that one. That one has the better signal, so I'll use that as the reference. And then it's going to give you these combination methods. So there's an overlay, and I'll just show you the tooltips on each of these. TLDR, this is the one you use if your signals are similar in your two images, and these other two, if you have a difference in signal, one of these two is probably what you're going to use. So I already know that the top panel here has the SNR on it is not as good as the bottom one, so I'm going to just use blend, and we're going to check where our join what it looks like here. So you can click that little adjust join button, and I'm going to zoom in a little closer. You can see the difference in signals in between these two. So you can adjust where this join is right now. That's where the join is going to happen. Everything is in between these two green lines. And you can move those up and down, make it as large or as small as you like. Typically, I will try not to have my join go over any large stars, or ideally over any areas where there's a lot of detail or nebulosity. Unfortunately, with this image, it's not really an option, so I'm just going to set it up about like that. Click OK, and we're going to run the script. So the script's going to run, and it's going to show you where your overlap is right here. We already know that because we just looked at it. And then it's going to create a join mask. And within that mask is where it does its magic to join these two images. It goes through it twice. Now, one thing you can do is when you're done, and I'm not going to do it tonight, but typically what I will do when I'm not on stream is I'll tinker around with which frame I will use as the reference. Because it's not always the one that has the better signal that gives you the best result. And I'll be totally honest, I'm not smart enough to explain to you why that is the case. So for me, it's just a bit of trial and error until I get it right. Okay, so here is our joined mosaic. And there's a mask on it right now, because again, that's highlighted in brownish orange. I'm going to show the masks that, or actually hide it, would be a better way to describe that. And that's how it looks. So we need to trim these edges off here, and then we can actually start our process. So dynamic crop tool again. And unfortunately, because those frames aren't quite rotated the same, you'll get sometimes it's a little heartbreaking. You'll find out you'll have something over here in this corner and you just can't quite get it in. And then you're like, well, darn, I gotta add another panel because I want that. Before you know it, you're into a 10-panel mosaic. I'm just gonna make sure there's no black areas around the edge, and then I'm getting as much of the image as I can. Let's check this top one. I think we're already set there. Yep. This is pretty close, but I think we're in bounds. Yeah, we are. And crop. So at this point, our mosaic is assembled. Let's take a look and see if we can see any seams. So I'm going to turn this mask back on. Whoops, never mind. It went away because I cropped it. Oh well. Pretty sure it's pretty seamless. Pun intended. And I think if we went in real close, you might see the signal. Nope. It's a pretty good merger. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, right there is where it changes. But I can't see a seam. Let's check right over in here too. Okay. So we'll do some quick processing. I think our stars, they were all pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and extract my stars. Nope, don't like that song. Music's gone a little weird on me. honestly, processing's taking no time at all. It's just using the tools is what's eating our time up tonight. Once you have assembled the mosaic, there's no need for you to keep this join mask up here, or at least none that I have found yet. If somebody does have a great reason for keeping it, feel free to leave a comment on why, but I'll just close that out as soon as we're done here. There we go. So there's our stars. Let's check, make sure we didn't have any weird stuff that was pulled out. Any nebulosity? I really don't see anything. I think we're okay. Maybe a little bit right in here, but I'm not too worried about that. So we'll close that down. And we will run noise exterminator. It's mostly not noisy, but I do see a bit of color noise there that I'm going to go ahead and nix. I don't normally apply that much denoising, but just trying stuff tonight. Dog's banging on my door. Won't come in. Don't have my streaming buddy in here with me tonight. I think we will definitely be cropping this stream down. Cut all of this unnecessary stuff out. Almost there, gang. Okay. So our noise before and after. And now we stretch. I'm going to find a new background here. The bigger the image gets, the longer it takes. Okay, so right over here, I'm going to set my symmetry point and remove the auto stretch. And stretch away. Just take a look here and make sure we don't lose any fidelity. Some of this nice texture. Go with a very light stretch intensity. Apply that. And reset GHS. Change to log view. Right here is our black point. Zoom in, get a little closer to it. And transformation type, go to linear. Send to black point. Not clipping any data. And maybe one more small stretch right here. Let's see what happens. Same thing. Before and after look. Yeah, it's just coming up nicely. Let's take a look down here in this bright spot. Perfect. And then I got this little bit of histogram to play with here on the end. So I am going to run an arc sine stretch. Estimate our black point. It looks like this is going to be the darkest area. So let's take a look in there. Adjust that black point down. Make sure you don't clip anything out of there. Still got some color noise in this, but you got to look pretty hard to find it. Alright, so nicely stretched. And just doing some quick color work here. It's predominantly a red image, but we have these like white areas, which is actually triple ionized oxygen, or O3. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, so I'm going to run a script, or excuse me, a process called narrowband normalization. It's going to give you your palette choices. You can do who or show or HSO. I'm really only working with 2 color channels right now, so who, HOO, is going to be what my option is, unless I want to create a false green, which I'm not doing that tonight. So let's take a look at our preview. And it gives you some options here on what blend mode you want to use. So that actually does a little bit better job with bringing forward some of those blues. And you can mess around with this O3 boost right here. Just be careful with it, because it quickly starts to make that signal noisy if you use too much of this boost. That's a little more than I want anyways, so I'm going to back down. I'm going to take that. And I'm just using this for a mask. So I'm actually going to do a curves adjustment in this area so I can get a blue mask off from this clone, which is why I made a copy of it. Let's find out where our blue signal is. Seems like the majority of it is somewhere around here. And we really just want that area. So I'm going to remove some red from this so we get an actual blue. A little something like that. And again, none of this matters because it's just a mask. And we will quickly try and make a blue mask from that. And you may find that when you apply the narrowband normalization, you really like the look of how it feels. For me, I like the reds on this one a little bit more than I would have on, so we'll say how that originally looked. The reds are slightly bluer, and I like this look more. So I use a blue mask, and going to blur that. I'm not sure how that's going to look. Let's take a look at the transparency. Might be okay as long as it's blurred enough. Let's just apply it and see what we get. The mask might be too strong. So it's not actually blue, it's more of a purple magenta, and that's because we've got a lot of red in that area. So I'm just going to pull down on that a little bit, and I'm going to add in a touch of green, just sort of make it an actual more blue color. in this area around Sadr. It's quite magenta looking as well. Might be able to get it with a curves adjustment. Nope, probably not. It's right there in the middle. And it's going to show us what our next step would be. Don't need that. It's a step too far. Maybe a bit of saturation. And just a slight bit of less red. This is all just how it feels to you. So I like that. Let's take a look at our stars, do a quick stretch. And handy script here. Let's look at our preview. Our handy SETI tool set here. I'm going to do a slightly stronger stretch than the default. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Actually going to do a little more. Might be too much, but we can always go back. I'm going to execute that. Remove your auto stretch. And we'll rename our stars for our rescreening. There's our pixel math for our star rescreening. And apply. It's nice, but I actually think I want more stars. So I'm just going to go back and do it again. And remove the green from the stars, because I don't really care for green stars. Maybe too much. Yeah, just slightly. Pretty close though. Last time here. And if this doesn't get it, I'll probably just run the star reduction script. Let's see what that does too. Right now, a lot of magenta stars. And that's just from the duo narrowband filter. I'm probably going to nix those. Correct our magenta stars. Lots of orange stars now, which I'm okay with. Curves. Here we are. I'm just going to saturate them a little bit here. The one I want to watch out for is Sadr here. So I start to saturate, it's going to... Anywhere you're going to have noise will be around your big stars. You can actually start to see it sort of butt in there. I'll back down a little bit off of that. Those are really orange. What is this music? Slightly less blue than that. Did that apply? Let's do it again. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I think might be too blue now, but we'll put them in and see how we look. No, I'm actually cool with that. We could do some additional color work. There's actually really nice blue reflection SNR right here that I didn't really do anything with. But you know, the point of tonight's stream wasn't really about doing a whole lot of color work or processing work. It was really just to sort of show the assembly of the mosaic. So just gonna run a quick star reduction on this, and we're gonna do something. It's gonna be really light if we do anything at all. I actually like the star field on this quite a lot. But I always like to just check. Sometimes you come out with a better result than you were expecting. It's a little bit tough to see on this tiny preview, so usually I just apply it, go from there. Boy, it's really thinking. Yeah, it didn't even apply. You know what? I'm not going to bother with it, gang. We'll turn this just so we can get a bit of a bigger look on stream, and then I will post it to my blue sky so y'all can have a gander and take a closer look if you'd like. I do really like this texture right up in here. All in all, pretty good process. Maybe a little bit more time on these blues. They're still pretty magenta. But I think you get the gist. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Those who stopped by. You guys get a chance. Follow the channel. Like. Subscribe. Comment. Love to hear what you got to say. Thanks for stopping by, folks. Good night.